This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace. Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday morning, and welcome to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we are your hosts. I'm Alexis.
I'm Grace.
And the reason we're laughing is because 2 seconds before starting recording, I had the hiccups and very likely may get them again while talking. So on that note, I'm going to hand it over to Grace because she is doing her last episode of our Charlie Chan, the Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan episode arc. We're winding down. We've got one more episode next week, but until then, Grace is going to grace us with yet another wonderful episode, I assume.
Yes, indeed. So,
awesome.
Alexis, I'm doing episode 15 of the show entitled White Elephant. And as in my last couple episodes that I've done, I have really gone down the rabbit hole of getting into the history of the places that the Chan family goes to. Yeah. I don't know why. I've just been like intrigued by these different countries, and that because they go international, I think that's why. I've been excited to like wildly speculate of like what was going on in those countries, and how the Chan family's presence folds into it, or the crimes fold into it, and including some speculation as to why or why not Mr. Charlie Chan has been in places like in my Greece episode right before coups happen.
Right.
So we start off in the early 1970s in the oil-rich Middle East.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right.
Just kidding. Can you imagine how badly I would fuck up trying to lay out the history of any oil-rich country and why an American private security contractor is there? I would offend anyone from any of the countries I would have chosen, and probably like accidentally commit treason, tying all of that together.
Just blame it on Hanna-Barbera.
Blame it on Hanna. We do for any of my problems.
Yeah.
So I will say we are, like in your last episode, in a vague, nondescript country. Okay. But the writers pulled like an Aladdin and made this episode a mixture of like vaguely Iraqi, vaguely Saudi, vaguely Moroccan, vaguely Egyptian, vaguely Ottoman Empire, and vaguely Indian architecture and setting. So,
gosh, they clearly had never traveled to any of those places.
Yeah, they were like, let's look at the Mid-East and Northern Africa, make this a thing, sprinkle in some India into it. Although, notably, Aladdin came out in 1992, so perhaps Disney was inspired by this episode in the vagueness of where the fuck they are.
Right.
So, rather than speculating around the time and place that this story happens in, again, because of the vagueness, and also because, as I said, could you even imagine me trying to take on any of those places I just named?
I feel like we have tried in the past, but we pretty much ginned it up to something happened. We're not going into it. Just know it happened.
Just know it went down. So instead, I'm going to start off at the top with some speculation around our the characters that the Chans are running into in this episode, because I want you to be thinking about who could have done it, who had the motive to commit a crime here throughout this episode. So first, we have the Sultan of this land, and this is Sultan Habib. And he's actually, and this is actually in the episode, he's an old classmate of Charlie Chan, which is why the Chans are there. So,
gotcha.
I believe that Sultan Habib, now a bit heavier set in his older age with a graying mustache, was the eldest son of this royal family, and thus, like the eldest son, the heir of the throne. So he received the best education possible, probably studying abroad with Charlie Chan somewhere like Oxford or the like. in preparation that he would someday rule this country. Habib knew that this was his path and approached it with great respect. He seems to be a very calm ruler who doesn't really look to rock the boat in any way. I can say nothing of his actual policies, but he has definitely been the head of the country for some time.
Okay.
So then we have Tien, who is, I believe, the younger brother of Habib. He's kind of got similar, like, thick eyebrows, but he's definitely a little younger because his facial hair is still black. He's not gone gray yet, or he dyes it. Who knows?
He's got an image to maintain.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the younger brother here. And since Tien was second in line for the throne, he was able to have a little more freedom in his life, a little less pressure put on him. So he was able to explore a little more. And his passion, and this part is not speculation because it comes up in the episode, is illusions and magic. So I think he wanted to be a magician, but even second in line for the throne has royal duties to attend to.
Absolutely.
So he was forced to be his brother's grand vizier, which and that's in the episode, that's his title, which according to Wikipedia is, quote, the title of the effective head of government of many sovereign states in the Islamic world.
Gotcha.
So again, a nod to where are we? Who knows? But also a nod to
an Islamic country of sorts.
Yeah, an Islamic country of some sorts. And also that, like, Tien, again, was forced to, like, take on a bunch of responsibility when all he wanted in life was just be a magician.
He, like, studied it in school, everything, magic and, like, showmanship. And then
He, like, studied under Harry Houdini. Who knows? I don't know what Harry Houdini was happening.
Probably. Maybe. Who knows? He's rich, so his parents could make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to be taught by Harry Houdini? Fine. Oh, wait, just kidding. No, we actually need you to be the Grand Vizier.
Exactly.
Sorry.
They were like, ooh. You had some other type of, like, geopolitical studies in magician school, I hope. Great.
Right.
Get in here. Yeah, your brother gets to be the sultan, but you gotta have this role. All the family has to have some role. You can't actually spend your whole life being a magician. You got to get a job at some point. I mean, magicians are a job too, but
absolutely
not for a royal family.
They're not They're not politicians or world leaders.
Exactly.
Maybe they should be. Anyway,
yeah, they're all illusionists in their own way. So, anyways, they're all liars in their own way. Anyway.
Anyways.
Next in the royal family, we have Sabu, who is looks like he's in his, like, early 20s, late teens. I think he's the son of someone in the royal family, like another one of the siblings, maybe. It doesn't seem like he's the Sultan Habib's son. Because his role is kind of like their, like, royal assistant, but he definitely he's not like a servant. He's definitely still part of the royal family. Maybe he's, like, studying under his two. Yeah, like he's studying under his two uncles. Exactly. Like, definitely some strings were pulled to be a chief of staff situation here. Some nepotism going down.
Propskis.
Exactly. So he's, like, some type of prince of some variety. Yes, he's helping his uncles out at the palace, helping rule the country. He's very smart, but again, we know that he's also a prince because his casual hobby is flying planes. This does come up in the episode.
Okay.
So yes, both very smart, but also, like, a lavish playboy prince being flown or flying wherever he wishes. I think he's still finding his path in life of, like, should I go be lavish playboy, but I also want to be powerful and rule a country one day. So
options.
He's got options. That's what happens when you're rich. And Tien's probably watching it being like, I thought I had options too. You don't. You got that royal blood. One day they're going to take it all away from you, and you're going to have to.
You have to step up. You're going to take my job one day.
Exactly. When I retire and I can be a magician.
Finally. Imagine. Well, no, there are people who I guess dream of that. But I was like, just imagine that being, like, your dream when you're, like, from the richest family in the country. And you're like, no, I just want to be a magician.
Have we talked about that you have not fully watched Arrested Development? or like you've only seen some
Yes.
episodes?
I don't know, like on this podcast, but in real life, yes, we
like,
have.
Job, who's the oldest son, is a magician, but he's like, I'm an illusionist, father, and like
Oh my
that
gosh.
is his life goal. So this whole time I was just like, oh, Tien is Job.
He's Job.
Got it.
Gotcha.
Just wishing that he's an illusionist. So also in this episode, we have some commoners. So we have Abdullah, who is a very large, ripped man who wears shirtless. He's shirtless. He just has a vest on.
Okay.
Talked about in our past episodes. It happens.
Yeah.
He also wears a white a talisman of a white elephant, which makes sense because his job at the palace is the royal keeper of like the elephants. Okay. He's a very serious man who Sultan Habib trusts and often sends off on like additional private missions for him. So he's in with the Sultan. Okay. And then we have Mahout, who works with Abdullah. His depiction, not great. Borderline, is this man enslaved here? We don't know. He's like in rags and like, it's not great. He's in rags. He's very much like serving Abdullah, working with the elephants here. But even with that, Mahout hopes to one day care for the elephants in Abdullah's role. So
maybe he just wears rags because he doesn't want to get his nice clothes dirty.
Yes, I did literally write that even though Abdullah like he like absolutely treats him less than, does not like him, he makes him pick up the literal shit jobs with the elephants. So like, yes, that is a good point. He's like, I'm gonna get covered in elephant shit. Yeah. Why am I gonna wear nice things? That's a good point. We're gonna go with that.
He's definitely a laborer who's not appreciated and valued for the time he's putting into his work.
Yes.
But also maybe he's not enslaved.
We don't know what country this is. So,
or what year. I guess it's 1972, but we'll act like we don't know.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. So finally, we have a father and son. The son remains unnamed.
A lot of people I got to remember.
I know, that's why I'm doing it up top to be like,
I'm trying.
Here's the cast of characters in addition to the 12-person family of the 10 kids and Charlie Chan and Choo Choo. That's why we're running through it at the top here. So you can get the profiles up top.
All right.
So the father and son, the son is a child. He remains unnamed. The father, they refer to as the faker, but it's kind of mean. He's just a snake charmer and showman who like regularly comes to play at the royal palace. His son is part of the show. For example, we do see like part of their situation where like, again, to be like, ooh, mysterious snake charmer, they're like wearing eyeliner and again just wearing rags again to be like, we're commoners. That's the sign of it, I guess, in this episode. But he like plays music on like the big flute, and like in this case, instead of a snake coming out, it's this like a rope magically rises out of the basket and becomes like taunt. So the son, who again is a child, like climbs up to the top of the rope, and then in a snap, like he hits a note and the sun disappears at the top, but reappears below behind some curtains. He like steps out in smoke. So
Tien's like, that's what I want with life.
My next line is, I feel like they get invited to the palace by Tien, who wants to live out his magician dreams vicariously through them. So yes. Exactly.
Amazing. Yes.
You hit the nail on the head. I think they're here because Tien is like, we went to magician school together, and he at the time
he was at the top of our class.
Yeah. He was my greatest
second to me.
Yeah. But now he's just my greatest desire to live his life. So that's the sitch going into this. A lot of cast of characters. We join Charlie Chan greeting his old friend, the Sultan Habib, at the palace. And Charlie and his brood of children I think they happened to be in the area of this country. And so they were invited for the traditional ceremony of this country. just entitled The White Elephant. And by the sounds of it, this traditional ceremony, I don't know if it's an annual ceremony or every 5 years, who knows, but basically, by law and by culture, it solidifies the sultan's position by allowing him to ride the sacred white elephant of the country. So there is an actual sacred white elephant. In this case, its name, another character here, is Singha, which I don't know what that is in Arabic, but Singha is a Thai beer. It's like a beer in Thailand that has a mythical golden lion on the label that maybe is actually, that means it in Thai. We don't know. Again, sprinkling in just whatever country they feel like.
Yeah, you know, at this point,
episode, it's a free-for-all.
The writers just ran with it, wild.
They didn't have Google to fact check themselves, or the audience couldn't fact check it. So, or
the time or budget to go to the library or anything and like research it. Like, no, we got to get this on the air in 2 hours.
Crank it out, baby.
Yeah.
So yes, Charlie is honored to be there, joining his friend for this very important ceremony. When they were back in school, I imagine that Sultan Habib would tell Charlie, saying like, one day I get to ride the white elephant when I become Sultan. Like, I get this great honor. This solidifies my rule. It's very traditional in our country and very important. And so Charlie is very honored that he's able to be there for his friend during, again, this traditional ceremony. So as they start to catch up, Prince Sabu comes to get them, telling them like, all right, this like multi-day celebration and ceremony it's got to get started. And it starts with the Sultan like kicking the ceremony off with feeding Singha. So on the way to like the enclosure, the pen, wherever elephants are kept.
Pen sounds so sad, but also maybe accurate.
The elephant house.
They're okay.
They, grab the kids. They were in the middle of watching the father and son magic duo, seeing the trick I previously described. They are clapping away. They are impressed. So they go to meet Singha in his elephant palace. That's what we're going to call it. Where there are other elephants who are clearly watching Singha with like great honor and like reverence. Because Singha is like, because the ceremony is about to start, he is decked out in the nines in like ceremonial elephant garb. He's got like a headdress going on. He's got like blankets and scarves on him draped across his back, lined with gold.
Boy. Good.
Singha is basically the Sultan of the elephants.
They bow down to him.
Probably all Lion King, if they would have like bowed with their little
the Animal Kingdom.
It would have happened. And so Habib has the food, and he's like explaining to the Chans that part of this ceremony is like kicking off this multi-day ceremony with the honor of feeding Singha like some special food. And as Habib is explaining this part of the ceremony to the Chans, we, the viewers, see both in kind of the back of the elephant palace, which part of it is like tented in. We see someone with a machete slitting open the back of the tent.
Oh.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the enclosure, we see someone like peeking through part of the fence and dumping mice into the enclosure. Because as we know, yes, elephants are scared of mice.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a phrase that goes with it. I didn't look it up. I just said, oh yeah, this is a reference to elephant being scared of mice. So the sight of the mice sends the other elephants absolutely buck fucking wild. And they start stampeding.
Oh no, which would be terrifying.
Correct. Yes, this enclosure. As a side note, one time, Justin and I were almost stampeded by elephants.
Oh God.
When we were in Thailand, a long story short, we were in the countryside. The like army veteran or like veterinarian, not veteran, like came and like that's the day where all of the people in this town get their elephants checked because they just had them as like pets and to help work the rice fields.
Oh,
So
wow,
the family
cool.
we were with, we were like, you want to go see? And we were like, for sure. And everyone was like super casual about the elephants. Like there was literally a teenager like texting while sitting on the head of one of the elephants, just like truly no big deal. And Justin and I did not know what the fuck to do. And like got too close to one of them and they were like, back the fuck up. And one of the elephants like wanted to stomp on us. And then this like little old lady who definitely was like 4 feet tall, just like took a twig and just like smacked the elephant in the head. And it was like, I'm sorry. And backed up. So that happened. And then another time, a baby elephant took its trunk and like moved Justin out of the way. God. So yes, legitimately, they are scary. They will stomp you.
They are very big.
Yes, very big. And so Charlie, obviously being like, this is some bad shit, rushes his kids out of danger's way while guards rush in to get the Sultan out of the way from danger as well. But when the dust settles, Singha is gone.
Uh-oh.
So if this was just a missing elephant on a random day, obviously it would be an issue. But not dire, you know, if just an elephant like ran off to the jungle, they'd be like, all right, we'll
find it later. Yeah.
Yeah. Like make sure everyone's okay.
It's tagged.
Right. It's tagged. It's also an elephant. We can probably find it running through the jungle.
Especially like I guess it wouldn't be all adorned and like wearing all the stuff if it were any other day.
But either way, like elephant running through a jungle. Like they're not it's not like a cheetah, super speedy. Like they'll find it. Right. It's a giant fucking elephant.
God, could you imagine if elephants were as fast as cheetahs? Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
That would be so cute, actually. What's so destructive?
If they could like climb trees. Yeah, that'd be absolutely horrifying.
Yeah. I guess I was just thinking like watching it on planet Earth versus experiencing it in real life.
Yes, true. I'll watch the documentary of it, but don't get me anywhere near it.
I don't want to be around it. Yes, no. Terrifying. I rescind my previous statement. I don't want to be caught in that, especially because it's like a herd. Anyways, we're not elephant experts here. No. Believe it or not. So today, though, with Singha, panic immediately ensues because not only are they like, wait a second, this is dicey because a stampede just happened with the Sultan here, but the law and culture of this land says if the Sultan is not able to ride the sacred white elephant during the ceremony, the Sultan must relinquish his power.
Oh.
So like, Sultan, you got a tummy ache that day? Too bad.
Too bad. Get up on there.
Get on that fucking elephant because otherwise you're not Sultan anymore.
Dang.
So a lot is
better than democracy, I suppose.
Yeah. The electoral college is broken. We need systems like this.
We need elephants. Bring in the elephants.
Bring in the elephants. Oh God.
What would it be? Sorry, what would it
not
be in America?
A political party is represented by elephants. I don't
true. Yeah, it's got to be neutral. I was gonna say, what's like it's like a deer or something. Bring in the moose.
Ride in the bison.
Yeah.
Ride the bison.
Something like that.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool, actually.
That would be, I would vote for someone if they like.
Also fucking terrifying.
Yes.
Bison are not to be fucked with. So everyone I already named rushes into the elephant enclosure to make sure the Sultan is okay. As a reminder, that's Tien, Sabu, Abdullah, Mahout. I guess the father and son don't come, but everyone else does. Okay. And once they confirm that everyone, the Sultan and the Chans and everyone else in the enclosure is okay, they all turn to Abdullah to be like, yo, why the fuck do your elephants just freak out? And maybe Singha is indeed in the jungle, freaked out about that stampede that just went down. But our ever sharp Charlie Chan doesn't think this was an accidental stampede, and he thinks that someone stole Singha, making this a national emergency. Briefly, a side note. Is this the same country as your previous episode?
Oh, God.
Is Prince Harim the son of Sultan Habib? And this is another attempt at bringing down the royal family.
Right. They're just under attack.
Meant to be stampeded in this moment and wasn't. Is this all conspiracy by whatever terrorist group perhaps was the culprit behind kidnapping the prince?
Perhaps.
I don't know.
A multi-episode arc.
Yes. I don't know, but I'm very positive. And I think we should speculate about this at the end.
We should. I'll keep that in mind.
Yes. Another thing to keep in mind for him giving you a lot of work in this episode.
God, I have a headache already.
So Mahout then opens up his hand to reveal that he found mice in the enclosure, something that they are very careful to never have around because the mice were still scurrying around.
Oh, okay. You said open his hand. I was like, is he like
up.
Holding the mice? He's like, look.
Oh, I mean,
like
he does
mice
do
crawling
that,
all over his arms.
There's only 2, but he does go and find them, and he's like, we never have rodents in here. This is the royal elephant enclosure. Mm-hmm. Look, and the mice are just like, squeak. They're pretty cute, honestly. I just thought of this because this confirms that this is indeed a royal conspiracy, but in just tying all of our shows together.
Oh no.
In the fact that in Chippendale Rescue Rangers, we think that there's an alternate but exactly matching rodent universe.
Adjacent, a parallel, yeah.
Yes, it parallels the word.
These mice are spy.
That at the same time, Chippendale Rescue Rangers are flying into this country to interview these mice to be why are you trying to take down the Sultan elephant of this land?
But they can talk to all animals, so they're also interviewing the other elephants as well. But the elephants are terrified of them because they are also rodents.
Exactly. They're fucking terrified. So if you are very confused, go back and listen to our Chippendale Arc Rescue Rangers from last year. It was very fun. It was great. Indeed, it has a parallel to the human universe.
Yep.
That I think is happening here. But we don't go down that rabbit hole. Instead, all of the humans move.
We'll go down the mice hole.
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. I take it back. The mice/chipmunk/elephant hole. So instead, because again, this is now possibly a national emergency that both the Sultan was just attempted to be stampeded. So is this an assassination attempt? Mm-hmm. And 2, where is the sacred elephant that without it, Saul's gotta relinquish his control. So, as they're moving into the palace, we do see a figure in kind of full robes with his face covered, watching them from the jungle, kind of beyond the elephant enclosure. So, now in the palace, you have questions. I don't have answers.
I'm trying to just keep everyone in my head.
There's a lot happening in this
There's
episode.
No room in here for questions at this rate.
Honestly, good.
I'm just taking what you say. Whatever.
Risk Rangers, cool. Next.
Cool. Got it. They're there? Awesome. Let's go.
Let
me add them to the suspect list.
So all of the men are discussing the situation of national security here. And it quickly falls apart into arguing because Abdullah is pointing at Mahout because he says, this is the only person who knows how to work with elephants and steal Singha. But Charlie immediately is like, Abdullah, you are literally the royal elephant keeper. So you also know about elephants. So you also could have made them stampede and steal Singha. So in many of my episodes, it turns into the Spider-Man meme. They're all pointing at each other. Exactly. But you did it. You could have done it.
You.
So nobody is to be trusted. And the Sultan is y'all, my life is in danger. Stop bitching at each other and go get some clues and solve this crime. Get the damn elephant. We have a day to get this elephant back. So the Sultan, he can't leave the palace because his life is in literal danger. So with all of the men splitting up to presumably go solve this or go about their day, we also now go to the kids splitting up to solve this crime because they obviously were eavesdropping into the situation. So we're going to start with Henry and Stanley. And Henry is chatting with their friend Sabu. So presumably Henry's friends with Sabu because he's the cousin of Prince Harim from your episode. Who's
They've
Henry's
met before.
Boyfriend. Yes.
Exactly. They've met at family reunions and stuff.
Reunions,
Harim invited
weddings,
them over. All the things.
He's been over for dinner. Et cetera, et cetera. So Henry and Sabu are trying to figure out like the fuck is going on. Even though Henry was told by Prince Harim to not get involved in geopolitical matters, Henry is like, my boo is off at, some, I don't know, prince
some other
event.
Race.
Yeah, he's off at some other race.
Grand Prix.
I couldn't go this year because I was dad's weekend. Last time we were there, it was a whole mess. So I'm now with dad this weekend. So my BF is not here. Bay isn't here to stop me from getting involved. And cousin Prince Sabu does not know about this little lover's quarrel that's happened in the past.
He's like, wait, what?
Yeah, they're chit-chatting, trying to figure out what happens. And yes, wait, what continues to happen as Stanley comes up to them dressed as a tree. So cousin Prince Sabu is like, this is the family that Prince Harim is trying to wife up.
Like,
into the family. You sure? I'm gonna call all the cousins about this shit.
We have some questions. This is why Henry is always trying to get Stanley to stop wearing costumes. It's like, Henry, I'm trying to marry into royalty here. This isn't a good look for us.
My next line is, before Henry can be like, dude, you're embarrassing me in front of my prince friend. So yes, literally. Yeah, Henry's like, dude, they're gonna not let this happen. Before that happens, Stanley says that he just immediately launches into what's going on here. He was spying on the edge of the palace gates, kind of where it goes into jungle area. And he was as a tree because he had to blend in, obviously.
Yeah.
When Mahout climbed Stanley to hop over the palace walls and run out. So that is pretty sus. Yes. Are you picturing Mahout climbing Stanley as a tree?
No, I'm picturing Stanley packing a tree costume into his luggage.
He got it from the spy in the last episode. He learned you can always be prepared. You got always be disguising. You never know what you're gonna need. So
it's like a massive suitcase. Charlie probably has to pay so much for the luggage fees. Oh my god!
Carry-on luggage. God damn it! The tree. You had to bring the tree.
You had to bring the tree. Really? The tree? Yes, Dad.
If I'm gonna be the master of disguise, yes,
I have to have them all.
I need to bring the fucking tree, Dad. Stop trying to stop me from being who I am, Father.
I love costumes, okay?
I am a master of disguise. Why can't you accept me?
Okay, fine. Just don't tell your mom.
Damn, Jesus. Bring the fucking tree costume, Stanley. So this is obviously raising some red flags. And so they're like, how do we follow him? He went into the jungle, and he's not an elephant in the jungle. He's a human being. That's going to be hard to figure out. But not to worry, because like I mentioned, they're with a prince. So Sabu is like, come with me. I got a plane. And like at first Stanley is like, oh, cute. Like he plays with planes. That's not going to be helpful. And then flash to, they're on a full ass airstrip with like a commercial jet waiting for Sabu at his every command.
Of course.
Flash to, they're on the commercial jet with like a flight attendant like serving them. Like Prince Cebu is just like flipping through a magazine,
Of course, like normal day
casual,
in the life. Yeah,
having some
cool.
champagne, some champagne, probably, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, a day in the life.
Yes.
Um, but they are indeed doing some loops around the jungle when and Henry and Stanley are looking out, and they see someone, a person riding on an elephant through the jungle.
Mm,
But the brush is a little too thick and they can't get low enough safely to confirm that it's Mahout or that it's
yeah.
Singha. So just as casually, they land the plane, and
In
Henry
the
and
jungle.
Stanley, yeah, just like, yeah, I think so.
They find a clearing.
Yeah, they find a personal airstrip clearing. And Henry and Stanley go off. I think they somehow got the Chan van there. And they take off into like the jungle. Sabu's got to get back to princely duties. And again, national emergency situation. Probably's got to call his cousin, Prince Harim, to be like, one, your dad's in danger. Two, have you done a background check on these Chans?
Henry's interesting, but Stanley's kind of weird. You sure about them?
You said he went to school with Henry?
Yeah.
On here.
Yeah.
So whilst going through the jungle, they run into a railroad track that has one single huge like boxcar on it. I will say this makes sense. This is the 70s. Railroad tracks are still everywhere. This
Yeah.
You could see it. Got to get through the jungle in the country somehow.
It's true. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I keep saying jungle. It looks like a jungle. Again, I don't know what the fuck country they're in.
Yeah.
That's just the flora and fauna that appears to be here.
Thick trees and
yes.
Okay.
So Henry and Stanley are like, this is fucking huge. Why is this just in the middle of the jungle? It's enormous. It's big enough to potentially house an elephant.
Mm.
So they decide to break into it naturally. And they're like, I mean, it's pretty heavy. We can't move it, as if they could have moved an empty boxcar.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
There's got to be an elephant in there. I'm going to start saying that anytime I can't lift something or anytime I can't open something. Like,
you're like,
gotta be an elephant.
Package is so heavy, so you have to like get like a carrier. You're like, gotta be that elephant I ordered.
An elephant.
Gotta be it. Naturally.
Only answer.
So they break into it, and just a bunch of like sugar, like pounds and pounds, like it's filling up the whole thing, like pours out of it. Sugar. Cocaine.
Yes.
My next word, cocaine, question mark. It pours out and completely covers Henry.
Oh, no.
So yes, is pissed, immediately starts yelling at Stanley. So I think we should go throughout this episode wondering, is Henry fucking high as hell on this coke? And maybe Stanley.
Yeah, he got some of that excess. I'm sure some of the extra dust just like blew up.
Yeah, it just like poured out onto him.
Or like accidentally like eats a little bit of it thinking it is sugar. Like, oh my God.
Right, exactly. As they're like yelling at each other, because they are, like, it definitely is getting up there. Also, all I could think about was Cocaine Bear, the new movie, but now Cocaine Elephant,
Cocaine
Elephant. It's a jungle, Cocaine Tiger.
That would be terrifying, actually. Cocaine like rhino. No.
That's a new episode of Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Cocaine rhino. Cocaine tiger.
They would not make it. I don't know. They wouldn't make it.
Cocaine Chippendale? Who knows? Cocaine chipmunks. Honestly.
We saw how they were on wasn't it the fizzy cola or something?
Oh yeah, like, immediately brainwashed.
Yeah, boom. Yeah. They do not pair
on
well
the chocolate, and they're like addicted to chocolate.
The chocolate, that's the one I'm thinking too. Yeah.
Anyways, so either way, they're coked up now, and they get back into the Chan van. Not a good idea. Also, did they just pile all that coke into the Chan van? International drug trade now. There's a lot of rabbit holes I could have gone down in this episode, but instead I just say them and move on.
Nancy is the one who like what the put the hint in their mind to go check out the jungle, knowing they would come across this train loaded with cocaine and would.
She needed them to pick it up for her.
Yeah.
They were like, look, here's the thing. They're going to skim a little bit off the top. It doesn't matter. We got Kona enough. We got to move this product before the tigers get it. You know
Nancy's
what?
saying this, right?
Did you know that the actual, like, somewhat true story that LOL Cocaine Bear is based off of happened in the 70s in, like, the jungles of Brazil? So, like, Nancy's like, I can't let that fucking happen again.
Yeah. Did you hear what just happened? It's like in the news, like Nancy's reading the newspaper. It's the headline, Cocaine Bear loose in Brazil.
She
Henry
slams
Stanley,
it down.
I need you to make a run for me. Can we get a private jet to put it on to ensure that doesn't happen?
Get Cebu to the airstrip.
Yeah.
This country is about to possibly
coming from a royal
fall apart. We need to get this. We need to move this coke now. Get to the boxcar. Henry, do you have your tree costume? I mean, yes. Stanley.
Yeah. Put it on now.
Yes, I'm sorry,
okay,
Nancy.
Okay.
Jesus. So, yes, Nancy, like always, is at the center of this. So, looking up from the tracks, because they're like, well, we gotta, I guess, get back to the airstrip to move this product. But as they're coked up now, they're not thinking straight. So instead of going back to the airstrip, they follow the tracks for a little bit, get off the tracks a little bit, and run into the ruins of an old palace.
Okay.
So naturally, again, in their coked up mind, they say, we should go in that. Let's go in there. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's do this.
You want to run? Are you hot?
Well,
I'm sweating like bullets right now. It's really weird. Oh my God, I don't even know what to do.
Is it the jungle? Is it just me? Funny enough about your statement is that when they go into this temple, it's like, you know, like full of gold and statues, and they are going throughout it pretty quickly. And they happen to run into two other men who are hiding in the palace, who are fully covered. And they start chasing Henry and Stanley through the temple.
Oh, no.
And you know Henry and Stanley are ready to run right now. Yeah, so they're not getting caught.
Everything is like in slow motion around them. So they're booking it out of there.
Like the men they were not prepared. Like they were ready to chase these two trespassers, but they were not prepared to chase coked up trespassers.
Teenagers. You
know what? There's like obviously a classic chase ensuing that I'm pretty sure at one point Henry and Stanley accidentally are chasing them. You know it's because they're like, what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do? You want to run? Let's run. Let's run. Let's run right now. And the men are like, oh God, oh
what
Jesus.
What the hell are these kids on?
Meanwhile, the middle kids gang up. Gotcha. And they're in the palace trying to figure out what their next move is. And this is Susie, Alan, Tom, and Anne. So while they're walking around the palace, again, just chit-chatting, trying to figure out their next plan of action, they run into Tien, who like doesn't quite know what to do with these teenagers. I don't think he has any kids. So in a moment of awkwardness, he's trying to like calm them down about like, oh, don't worry. Like we're just under like a national emergency. Like it's fine. Your dad's got it covered. Like trying like clearly, putting his foot into his mouth of being like, you know, this is a huge fucking deal. Our sultan almost just got assassinated. Oh God. He's not doing good. So he does what he can only think of, being like, see, look, it's cool. Relax. Here's a magic trick. So he like pulls out like a napkin, like my chance or something, and like pulls out a dove from it. And it's just like, see peace. Look.
It's a sign of peace. We're fine.
It's fine. I'm just the Grand Vizier and has to figure out what the fuck is happening. Who's trying to assassinate my brother? And no problem. It's fine. You're fine. We're all fine, right?
Fine. We're good. I just need to call in our army to investigate and invade another country that may be trying to kill it. But
am I going to try and get assassinated? I don't know.
See a magic trick, kids. Yeah.
And so
that's the only thing that brings him calm. He's like, I just need to do some magic. I'm so stressed.
Magic. Yeah, I'm so stressed. Yeah, he like forgot the kids were there. The self-soothing mechanism. Which might actually be the case because the kids just are like, wow, and they just like kind of back away. So they don't have to be cornered watching any more magic tricks at like by like the weird uncle at like a family reunion.
Yeah.
They've like been invited to the family reunions because of Henry to like have the parents meet and stuff. They're like, oh God, Uncle Tien is gonna fucking do magic tricks again. God, we're too old for this shit.
Uncle Tien, now's not the time. You have a national emergency going
on our hands.
And they slowly back out of there.
Exactly. They just kind of slowly disappear. Yeah. But in reality, they kind of should have stayed and asked Tien for directions because this is a huge fucking palace and they get lost as hell. They're like not paying attention. All of a sudden they kind of look up and they're like, we've never been in this wing of the palace anymore. Like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they kind of just start being like, well, should we go down this corner? Like, is that room? Like, oh God, where are we? And so they open a door and bam. Unfortunately, or like surprisingly, we haven't run into this beautiful trope in any of our episodes of the 70s so far. What do you think it is?
A night? No, I don't know. They don't have
a trap door.
So... Oh, of course. It's like some sort of guard. What?
Nope. Bam. They open a door and below them, floor gives out. They fall down a trap door.
Of course.
But they fall into a very scary, like underground, like old, like fully stone, like tunnel that's filled with like bats and spider webs. And behind them where they have fallen, which I don't know how they didn't break their bones because they just fall onto stone and it's too high for them to climb back up. So who knows? The power of youth.
They'll be all right. They're like
not hurting yet.
Bendy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're fine.
They got like rubber bones or something.
Exactly. And so again, behind them is kind of like a dead end, just a stone wall. So there's nowhere to go but forward. So as they kind of like collect themselves and start going forward, what we thought was a dead end wall behind them rises up. And two armed men with, again, like swords, they're fully covered.
They're the armed guards.
Yeah, there's those armed guards. We got a 2-for-1 here, baby.
Nice.
They start chasing kids down the tunnel. My only note on this part while watching this scene was contractual chase ensues because you got to have every contract, every episode, got to have a chase scene with some tunes.
Got to have one. Nice.
Yes. So throughout the chase through these very scary underground tunnels that curve and rise and fall and go off to different angles and different, like they spout out from the main tunnel, they're luckily able to chase the tail of these guards. And while one of these like side tunnels is filled with very scary bats, it does eventually rise up and they tumble out into the old palace ruins.
Oh.
So, indeed, underground tunnels. Then, we have very elaborate. We have then Flip, Nancy, Mimi, Scooter, and Choo Choo, our youngest gang, who pause and they're like, this has got to be more than a one-man job to steal a fucking elephant in front of our eyes. So, we think it must have been Abdullah because he knows about elephants. But then we need someone who could have like tricked us, like pulled the wool over our eyes as the elephant disappeared into thin air. And who have we seen disappear? That father and son snake charmer duo. It was the two, well, not the son. I don't really blame the kid, obviously, but the father and Abdullah are behind this. So they put Choo Choo on the case because they go back to the spot on the palace grounds where the snake charmer originally was performing, and he's pulled up tent. He's out of there. So Choo Choo, looks up and like points and starts growling after he sniffs around. But also at that exact moment, the father and son are riding away on like a donkey drawn carriage out of the palace grounds. So like, all right, Choo Choo, I mean, you just looked up. and solve everything. You didn't like, you weren't a tracker dog in this moment.
Right.
You were just like,
you didn't do much.
Right
hey,
there
they go.
Yeah. So they need to follow them, but they don't have the Chan van and they're children, so they can't run
Can't
fast
even
enough to
drive
follow.
it.
Yeah, they can't drive it. They can't run fast enough to follow a donkey-drawn carriage. So for no apparent reason, the animators were like, all right, how do we get these kids into town in a fast enough vehicle? And we cut to specifically the kids like hitched a ride on the back of like what must be like a pig truck. It's like a livestock truck, but the back of it is filled with pigs. But like, are they going to the slaughter? Because like, if this is an Islamic country, Muslims don't eat pork.
Probably don't eat the pigs.
Yeah. So I don't know what's happening, but the pigs are kind of cute. And I really only mention this because guess whose head pops out from the pig pen first? That's right, Nancy.
Nance. Oh, Nance.
She's comfortable with these pigs.
She's like, they may not eat them here, but I'll eat them.
Here's my personal address to the hotel I'm staying at, or my room on the palace grounds. If you could drop off some bacon on your way home, I'd
cleaning up
that.
on this trip. She's got her cocaine shipment coming in. She's got all of this pork. She's like, do you know these are like two of America's favorite things? Okay,
cocaine and pork.
The Chans are back in business.
Export business right here.
Yeah. She's like working her way to the front of the truck to like take out the driver and hijack the entire truck.
Take it to the airstrip.
Yeah.
She has one of those machetes that like one of the guards had. She's like, I won't make any trouble. Just turn off this road here.
Turn off right now. Now.
Get to the airstrip if you want to ever see your family again.
Oh my God, just this honest pig farmer. Oh man. You do raise such a good point though. Like the writers have no clue what they're doing here.
No. Not at all.
That's the one thing that you would not see.
Right. I
guess like you use pigs for like other things.
Farming purposes, but it like the way they were like corralled in the back of this truck very much felt like
treated.
Yeah, gotta take them to slaughter. And like
they're not trying to keep them healthy for farming purposes. Yeah, it's like, no, they're on their way to be chopped up into bacon.
Right, exactly. They're ready to be Nancy's breakfast.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning.
Nancy is likewise ready for them to be her breakfast.
Exactly. Which again, to that airstrip, she's like, nothing like starting my morning with a little bacon and Coke. Yeah, she actually sprinkles it onto the bacon.
You like you know how you can bacon into the Coke.
Yeah, you know, you can like caramelize bacon with like a little bit of sugar. She does it with cocaine. So she starts every morning.
Kingpin Nance.
Pigpen.
Kingpin.
That's how she's referred to in all of the like black market circles. Like the pig pen is coming. You better have her bacon, literally.
You don't want to see her angry or without cocaine.
You don't want to see her hangry. Anyways, so eventually I think the driver eventually is like, the fuck, why are there children in the back of my truck? It's like, I think just kicks them out in the city and is like, who the fuck are you? Stop messing with my pig.
Alone, stranded.
Yes, literally. They're just like in the middle of this huge city now. And they start trolling around town, being like, we'll find them now. But luckily, I guess. Sorry, this is just Nancy. I guess just farm animals are drawn to her. Because I don't know why I think this is so funny. Because that donkey from before finds Nancy and just starts licking her face. And she's like, oh God, please stop. And the donkey just loves her. So apparently farm animals just love our good Nancy.
She's up to something. Keep going. I'm working in theory, but I want to see how this unfolds.
Yeah. So anyways, all the other kids are like, oh, that's the donkey from before. And it's like, I will say, a really cute, like, baby donkey. It's adorable. And so then they realize, they just, again, look up, and there's the cart that the father and son were on before. And it's kind of like parked out of like a marketplace, like an indoor marketplace. And so they're like, well, I must be in there. So they enter quietly, and they hear two familiar voices arguing and like yelling at each other about prices. And they pause for another beat, flip, like makes everyone stop for a second. And they realize that it's the voices of the snake charmer and Abdullah. And like the smart children they are, they rush into that room and start screaming that the place is surrounded. Put their hands up. And by they, I mean Flip, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
Is claiming this, but they're all like pointing and angry. And awkwardly, the father, the snake charmer, and Abdullah are standing at a table covered in nicely folded shirts, including a pile that the snake charmer is like picking up and handing to Abdullah. And they kind of like look at the kids and they're like, what the fuck? Like, what? And they're like, we heard you yelling about prices. And the snake charmer is like, yeah, like my wife does the best laundry in the entire country. And so we exclusively do the Sultan's laundry. So I'm giving it back to Abdullah, who's here doing a side mission for the Sultan to get his laundry. So the kids very awkwardly just like back out
of there.
Yeah.
We heard you talking about prices. Like, yeah, we're in a store.
Right. This is my wife's store. Yeah. Read the sign above the door.
Okay.
What the fuck you kids talking about? So yeah,
children.
They just leave and I guess start wandering into the jungle. Naturally. I think actually Nancy is like, all right, I've had enough of this shit. I need to go check on my shipment. Jungle time, kids.
Let's go. We're going to the jungle.
Yeah, I gotta make sure that Coke was delivered to the plane that Prince Cebu is delivering for me. So on their way through the jungle, they find some elephant footprints. And Choo Choo sniffs them to confirm, yep, it's an elephant. Good job, Choo Choo. So they follow the footprints to the old palace. And now all the Chan kids are at the old palace ruins. And as each of the groups of children enter, they all get immediately folded up into the chaotic chase scene, with the men trying to chase the kids.
That's right. The guards.
Yes. Yeah, the guards. And it seems like, yes.
Wait, because there were two people chasing Henry and Stanley too. So now is it like all four of them or all?
You know, it's really unclear how many there are.
But they're being chased by more than one large man.
Yes, there's definitely at least two.
Cool.
But it's unclear how many they are. Again, I think it was the 70s. The writers were also probably on coke.
Yeah.
They were writing this from the perspective of Henry and Stanley. Nancy walks in and is like, God damn it, you two. Like, sees the little, like,
you never
nosebleed from Stanley.
You never use the product.
Yeah. Don't get high off your own supply. Come on, guys. That's like our family motto. I mean, what?
What? What's wrong with you guys?
Just sugar. Yeah. Weird. So it does seem like the guards are trying to keep the kids from getting through a certain set of doors. But the forever badass Jodie Foster clocks this and is like, I'm going to fucking go through those doors. Who's going to stop me? Hannibal Lecter? Probably.
Maybe.
But anyways.
On his vacation.
Yeah, exactly. This is actually where he went to. So, yes, she goes through those doors. It is actually like this huge courtyard that has like, it's lined with stone. It has overgrown plants everywhere. And it has, in a couple places along the walls, these like really huge, like red curtains, kind of like hiding maybe windows into the inside of the palace. Like, it's unclear. But Anne, again, knows that like they're on her tail. She busted down those doors. She doesn't have time. She starts yanking down curtains to see what's going on. And of course, behind the first one, finds Singha, who is being a very quiet, good boy elephant.
Okay.
But
way to go, Jodie Foster.
I know. She's a detective.
Well
from
done,
that young
Clarice.
age. That's what Singha says.
Yeah. He has like the Hannibal Lecter mask on.
Fun fact, I probably told you this before, but we for Dio, one of our dogs, we use like a lead that like goes around his nose and then like around his like ears, just so like when he tugs, he kind of just turns around. And my old coworkers called it his Hannibal Lecter mask. He's like a big 90-pound dog with like something on his nose, so people automatically assume it's like a muzzle or something.
Yeah.
It's not, but yeah, so we call it his Hannibal Lecter mask.
Nice.
Anyways, and a serial killer comes out, and then all the Chans get murdered, and the guards do, and it's the end of the story.
And that's the end of the episode. Charlie never found his kids, and that poor shipment of cocaine and pigs was just left in the middle of the jungle.
And that's how Cocaine Pig became
Cocaine Pigs. Like 100 pigs, just like
coked out in the jungle.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yes, she sees Singha. The cloaked men follow her in, as do the other kids. Presumably Henry and Stanley, still coked up, are like, we got a plan. We're going to drop a red curtain on the guards. We're going to tie him up with one of like the ropes that you use to open the red curtain. And it works.
Oh,
like a lot of ideas in the 70s and 80s that were fueled by Coke.
Yeah,
it worked out. There was a lot that didn't, but some things did.
But they went from A to Z. Don't ask about B through Y.
They went from A to Q to 13 to Batman signal. And they caught the guy.
And they caught him.
And in that moment, Charlie Chan strolls in with the Sultan, just as Tien storms in, holding Mahout, saying that Mahout was like creeping around the palace grounds. And I will say, we did see slightly in an earlier scene that when Charlie Chan was hanging out with the Sultan, they were, scouring kind of the grounds. Charlie just literally looked out in the jungle and was like, what are those old ruins? And the Sultan was like, that's an old palace no one uses anymore. And Charlie was like, let's go. So that's how they ended up there.
Cool.
Yes.
Down for some sightseeing?
Yeah, I want to go see them. So Anne, again, pulls the curtain and is like, Dad, I fucking found Singha. And now, Bird, before I get to the big reveal, who do you think stole Singha and put him there? You want me to run through all the characters
I was
again?
going to say, first, let me see if I remember other names. I'm going to assume it wasn't the Sultan. So then we've got Tien, Sabu.
Yep.
Abdullah, whatever. What's the M1's name? His assistant servant. Mahout. And then the father and son.
Father and son. Yeah.
Is there anyone else I'm missing?
No.
Okay.
Got them all. I know there are so many characters in this one.
And Tien and the Sultan and Charlie are the ones who just came in, right?
And Mahout.
They were holding Mahout.
Yep.
Abdullah was getting laundry from...
Yes, and that's where the father was as well, the snake charmer.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Sabu.
Okay.
But if history of this show is any indication, it's a character we haven't met yet.
Well, Charlie looks at Anne and first says, no, Anne, no one stole that elephant right there, because just like in the enclosure, there's no elephant there. Everyone does exactly what you just did. It's like, the fuck?
What?
Dad, what the fuck?
Are they all on cocaine? They're seeing things.
The white elephant. Nancy's like, how'd you know my code name?
Nancy is the white elephant. Oh, okay. I need some
Nancy
answers.
looks at the armed guards and is like, didn't want to have to take out my own family, but they know too much.
Pulls out the machete.
Yeah, exactly. You just hear the like more guards coming out.
Yeah.
Didn't want to end it this way. So Charlie strolls across the courtyard saying, no, here is the real Singha. And he pulls back a curtain. And indeed, we see what exactly we saw before, the same white elephant, but this one is surrounded by mirrors, which somehow refracted and reflected, and there's some lights to make it look like Singha was actually in the other side of the courtyard. Yeah, I'm going to explain it because it's the same setup, apparently, that was in the enclosure earlier that day to make it look like Singha was right there, when in reality, he had already been stolen from the enclosure. And Charlie says, only an accomplished magician could perform this illusion. And then they all very slowly just look at Tien, the skilled magician and the jealous brother, who immediately, like, straight up, like, armed salute revolutionary style, like, raises his arm up to the sky and says that he almost got away with accomplishing his dream of becoming the Sultan. So in
Which
reality,
dream is it, Tien? Do you want to be a sultan or a magician?
Tien.
Which one is it? You can't have both.
I surmise that, yes, it was the brother who got ignored his entire life, was trying to chase his dreams, but then got forced to do the shitty job of being the Grand Vizier, which again is actually the real head of state. So he had to deal with the bullshit. And in reality, I think he was like, fuck this shit. I want to be the Sultan. If I'm going to have to deal with all of this, I want the cush life.
I want to be the figurehead. I don't want to be the one actually pulling the levers.
Exactly. And
interesting.
I now think that not only was that part of the situation, but I think he was talked into to be the head revolutionary from the group in your past episode. Yeah. When they tried to kidnap Tien's nephew. It didn't happen. The peace treaty went down. And so they looked at Tien and they said, this is our only other way. We were going to try and overthrow your country, which I think now, if Tien had become Sultan, he would have torn up that peace treaty, gone to war immediately, possibly handed the empire to this other country that Spy was working for. We simply don't know. But their plot foiled again by the same goddamn family. So, with that, cut to the ceremony. We've got the Sultan on one elephant. He's got Charlie Chan riding next to him. They're waving. They're having a good time. I will say they're riding in one of those like big baskets on an elephant that are actually horrible for elephants. You should never ride an elephant with that basket or not. Like, don't be riding them unless, again, you're that teenager in Thailand who was just texting while sitting bareback on the elephant's head because clearly it was his pet, whatever. The one that, again, almost trampled Justin and I. Please don't ride them. And then on the other elephant, just another one, you've got the entire Chan band fucking riding, playing music on top of the elephant. Oh yeah, baby. There's a drum set up there.
Yes,
there's everything up there.
They're jamming. Nail the drums in.
They're interestingly singing again a really catchy tune. It's basically about blackmail, which is very interesting. Yeah, in like more romantic, quote unquote, poppy early 70s tunes. And then most importantly, though, in front of this parade of elephants and royals, we have little Choo Choo, who's
Oh,
dressed up as an elephant. He put on like little like twigs with like giant leaves to look like his ears. And then
oh,
on his nose, he's got like a giant sock that he's blowing into. And like the
oh.
elephants are like hanging onto his tail. Like he's leading the
Following him along.
parade. Yeah, and it
Oh.
was so cute. And that's the end. That's it. And
Wow.
yet
That
again, another country,
journey.
the same country saved,
Yes.
perhaps,
Yes.
by
This
the
arc,
chance.
this episode arc is intense. I was trying to think, I had to look up what years Harry Houdini lived. Because
Thank you. Is
in
it
my
like
mind,
1800s?
he died in 1926. Yeah. So
So,
it's been a long
yeah.
before this show, but in my mind, I was thinking
Yeah.
like, yes, that enemy nation, they had to bribe Tien with something so great. Like, look, you'll become Sultan, but we'll give you whatever else you want. What do you want? He's like, bring me Harry Houdini.
But in reality, it was like all of Harry Houdini's notes from like
Yes, there you go.
all of his like tricks and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like this country has it. And so, yeah, that's the blackmail that they were like,
Boom.
yes,
Like, we'll give
nobody's
you
laid
whatever-
eyes on this except
Whatever you want.
for our country. And he was like, fine, I'll give you the country. Give me the notes.
Give me his notes. I want to
and
be
he
the greatest Sultan and magician who ever lived.
who's ever lived. And they almost got away with
They
it.
almost
But
got him.
man,
Wow.
I also am imagining now that like, because not all of the family is in the band. It's like just kind of the older kids.
Yeah.
So like the younger kids are probably like watching the parade and that kind of stuff. But notably, we never saw Prince Sabu or Nancy again. So I like to think in the background of the like parade, you just hear an airplane
take off. Sabu's driving. Nancy is like in the co-pilot
She's just
seat.
in the back.
She's got like the big like earmuffs on and like shades, like the aviator shades, with like a clipboard just going through the supply.
I was gonna say either that or yeah, like Sabu's driving and he's got that, and Nancy's just slowly turning around, eating a piece of bacon, like turning around like a la like every evil villain. Just eating a piece of bacon, like with her stash of Coke all around her.
There's like a baby pig in her lap that she's like petting instead of a cat, or since Choo Choo's busy leading the parade, she's like petting a pig while eating bacon. And you just see like bricks of cocaine behind her. Yes.
Right in front of that pig.
There's like armed guards sitting all around her, like wearing like camo type gear with like all the ammo like strapped across their chest, holding these massive like AK-47s.
She's got like whoever the buyer or like the Coke is like on his knees in front of her, like begging for the price, and like or like whoever like the delivery was, and he's watching her eat the bacon, being like, oh god, she has my family, and she's like, please. This bacon, this was the mother of this pig right here. And he's like crying, like, please, I'll give you anything.
Even worse, it's like she's like unwilling to make a deal with him, so her guards like open the plane door. He's like, please, Nancy, no.
She's like, open the hatch.
Get him out of my sight.
You know what country we're over right now? Colombia, filled with my personal cocaine bears.
Yeah.
Oh, you thought that was an accident? Yeah. Open the hatch.
Good luck.
Hasta la vista.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, wow. When was Pablo Escobar taken over down there? Was it the 70s? I fucking hope so, because it would make this make all the more sense. She's actually helping him bring Nancy. She's helping him bring his hippos in. There were no hippos in Colombia before Escobar.
He had hippos on his property.
Now they're like overrunning.
Yes, they're like decimating the ecosystem in this part of Colombia.
Drops one hippo by parachute. The man is like strapped to it.
It started with like 8, and there's like 100 hippos there now in this part of the country that are like fucking stuff up. But
yes, like they're not supposed to be there.
The hippos were there as like a sign of goodwill from the white elephant, aka Nancy. She dropped them to Pablo once, being like, "Yeah, I'm good for it. I can get you anything you need." Yeah. Anything.
You have your territory, I have mine.
Yeah. As long as you're good for it, so am I. Eating the bacon.
Bacon.
That's our calling card. There's just crumbs of bacon and jelly donuts. The white elephant was here. Oh God.
Oh shit. Get your men together.
Fuck.
Get your
I'm
men.
fucked.
Secure the premises.
Get the AK-47s. We're so fucked.
You see like
She's on her way.
spotlights all over the place. Like
The alarms going off.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that was amazing. Let me say, your episode ended in a way that will perfectly lead us, segue us into next week's episode. Not so much the white elephant
arc. From yours last week to this one to I don't even know if I want to know next week, but we'll
see next week. It's a more lighthearted end of it, thankfully. Yeah, not the white elephant part, but we'll come back next week to see how this episode leads us right in. But anyway.
Okay. Awesome. Well, between now and next week, who should our lovely viewers tell about this show?
Oh gosh, tell an elephant keeper, I suppose. Nice. I've got to admit, though, I mean, at least if you're listening in the States, that pretty much limits you to the zoo.
Yeah.
Maybe a circus. I hope not, but maybe a circus.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see them at the Renaissance festivals and stuff. Hopefully not anymore, but sometimes. Find an elephant keeper, though.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot better answer. I was gonna say tell a Coke dealer.
Okay, also that.
But
honestly, there's a lot more of those in America than there are elephant keepers. So you're better off following Grace's suggestion.
You know what?
It's easier.
We're going to get more likes and subscribes if you go with that suggestion than the elephant keepers, all 5 of them in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
So, great. With that,
I second
see
that.
you next week.
Next week. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.